Okay, Ben, this is your knife. Starting out, the design I pulled down, I liked it, something to go by, probably end up a little bit different, but we'll see what happens. I got the forge going there with your steel inside of it. I'm gonna start banging away. Okay, bye. Okay, so here's kind of the blank that I forged. Put the curve in there, and the curve for the back, the curve for the tip, and then I did some looking for kind of what I wanted for a profile. And there's what I got. Stole this or borrowed this profile from a website, but it was free. And I'm making it longer because you can never have too much knife, I guess. Haha. So I like the flare on this handle. I think that'll work out nice. So laid that on there, marked where I'm going to cut it off, and we're going to go cut into that. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do this. That might be a little bit tricky. In fact, I may even end up taking that out of there. Let's see. I could put that in, but that kind of geometry is tricky. Might not work out very good, so I may smooth it out there. So I'm going to decide here in a sec. Okay, bye. Okay, just a quick little video here. Thought you'd be interested to see. These are the same profile and thickness as your knife that I cut out of wood, and I painted it black, and I'm testing my sanding on it for how we're going to put in the bevels on the knife. So like here was one I messed around with. Anyway, trying to get the bevel right to look good. So I'm doing all these tests so I know what it'll be like when I actually go to do it on your knife. So like this side, didn't like that. That didn't come out right. Didn't leave a nice line. Wrong angle. But this I kind of like. Got a nice wide flat grind on it with a narrow bevel at the top. That to me looks like a hunting knife. So I've got 2 more of these, which means I can do 4 more tests, so I can test on each side. So I'm gonna run that, make sure I got my angles all worked out before I start grinding the bevels on your knife. So I will have kind of effectively made your knife like 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 times before I actually grind on the steel. That way I know it'll come out the way we want. But I'm liking the profile, it's cool. Okay, Ben, you're gonna heat treat your knife. This is where it goes from just a piece of steel to a real tool, if we do it right. Fingers crossed. If you wonder why I ran off with the knife right there at the end of the quench, it's because I brought it over here to put it in my machining vise. It clamps it down real flat and straight. And if that works the way it's supposed to, it'll suck the rest of the heat out of there and it'll keep the blade from warping. So I'm going to kind of clean a couple things up, let that cool, and then in a minute we'll be able to file test it and see if we have a hardened piece of steel. Okay, Ben, so I just took your knife, try and show it to you here, hopefully the camera focuses. Just took it out of the vise. You can see where it turned black from the oil. I don't worry so much about hardening the handle. All your toughness you want up in your blade where the bevels are. So I was very happy. It quenched, came out nice and straight, no warps. And then the big test is you take a file, and if the blade is hard, a file should not grab, it should just skate across. It won't dig in and catch, it'll just skate across the blade. So that's the sound of a file skating, which means the blade is hard, and bladesmiths say that in the quenching process is when a knife gains its soul. So it has now become a tool. It is a hardened blade. We'll get it tempered now for toughness, and then we'll start sanding up and get ready to put on a handle. So I'm very happy. That was my first time using a new quench process, and it looks like it worked fantastically. So onwards and upwards. Okay, time for the glue up. 2-part epoxy. I'm gonna mix this up. It's 5-minute epoxy, so once we get this stuff ready, we gotta smear it on. I'm actually gonna put it mostly on the knife scales, because then I know exactly where we're getting it. And we got both pieces. Good and covered. One. Pins going in. So, hey, keep the camera pointed at me. I got Miriam here as my camera
It's Evelyn.
person. Or sorry, Evelyn. Sorry. Evelyn here is my camera person helping me out. So. Trick is to clamp it enough that you get a good bond but not clamp it so much that all the epoxy wants to squeeze out. And I see an issue. Uh-oh. My masking tape. I have to fix that. Okay. Got some masking tape that I use to protect the blade up under the scale. Out from under there. On that, no big deal. Okay, and then in here to rest. Ta-da! Feels pretty good. All right, gonna use tung oil on this. Probably looks backwards because I'm using the front camera on my phone. Alright, but should work pretty well. It's durable, but it doesn't cover up the natural beauty of the wood. I don't know what we're shooting for there. We'll give it multiple coats. Really let it soak in, but I'm liking the way that looks.